All right, well, let's get to the State of the Union from last night, because there was a lot of crazy stuff happening in the State of the Union last night. And just want to remind you, we're doing stand-up comedy all over the country, starting in Houston and Dallas in March. Then we're going on to Tampa, Orlando, West Palm, Miami, Des Moines, Omaha. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all those tickets. So here, watch. This is the craziest thing that Nancy Pelosi's react. You know, they always get up and they applaud. Mm-hmm. But she gets up in a weird time, and then she doesn't know what to do. And let's just watch. I have a couple different angles of it, by the way, so I'm going to show you those.
And our troops in Iraq in Afghanistan faced many dangers. One being stationed at bases, breathing in toxic smoke from burn pits.
She's going, what is that? Toxic smoke, burn pits, baby. Here we go. And then she gets up and she starts dancing. And then she starts dancing.
No.
She was going to applaud toxic burn pits, but was like, wait, I'm against toxic burn pits, but I'm for the troops, right? Shit. Okay, Nancy, don't panic. Just play it off like you're rubbing your knuckles together. What? Well, here's another view. Watch.
Yummy.
What is she doing?
These burn pits and incinerate waste.
Oh, incinerate.
Burn pits.
Burn pits. What is she doing?
She was going to clap, but was like, wait. Like you could see it.
She's like, oh, burn pits.
Like if you tripped, like Ellen had that joke about back in the day about if you trip but act like you were just running for no reason.
Yeah.
That's what that is, because she stood up and she keeps it going as she goes down, because she's like, no, this is just a normal.
This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm dancing to the burn pits.
They're buying it.
There's another angle. Here it is.
Many of you have been there. I've been in and out of Iraq and Afghanistan over 40 times.
Burn pits and toxic gas. She's like,
we should change the lure.
This guy says her husband turned on the remote vibrator. That's what he thinks. That's what he thinks happened to her. I don't know. Would a remote vibrator make you rub your knuckles together like a cricket? I don't think so. This guy says cyber reboot. That's what it looked like. It did look like a cyber. Wait, he said veterans are toxic burn pits. Shit, veterans are the good one. Gotta clap.
Oh, that's next one. That's the next one.
Gotta clap. Okay, here we go.
Third piece of that agenda
watch.
is support our veterans.
Yeah. So veterans.
Veterans are the backbone.
I don't know if you saw it. She almost fell. Watch
Third
this.
piece of that agenda is support our veterans. Veterans are the backbone and the spine of this country.
That's what she was waiting for.
That is what she was waiting for. Here it is. There's another. I think this is another viewer.
Veterans.
Oh, did you see that? Veterans! Oh my God! I gotta get up.
Look at the guys.
And then they go to the general. He looks. They never look happy. The generals, right? They always look. Hey, we're over here talking white fragility classes and queer theory, and we don't even get an awkward knuckle rub.
Support our veterans.
That is so funny. That is.
You want to get the knuckle rub taste out of her mouth in a real hurry.
Putin may circle Kyiv with tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people. He'll never extinguish their love.
No, he'll never. I don't know if you heard what he said. He said Putin will never get the. It's here.
With tanks, but he'll never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people.
No, Putin will never gain the hearts and souls of the Iranian people, or at least they at least like him better than us, though. I bet
the Iranians, yeah,
I bet they do. So that was him calling the Ukrainians Iranians. Well, I could rub. Every fourth word he was slurring. So
let's pass the Paycheck Fairness Act and paid leave. raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and extend the child tax credit so no one has to raise a family in poverty.
Let's actually not do any of those things because the Democrats have complete control of government. And if we were going to do it, we would have done it. We're not doing it. We're not doing it.
I'm just asking you guys to do it.
I'm just saying, I don't know if you see everybody behind me. We're all fucking Democrats. We have complete control of this government. We ain't doing any of that shit. Jesus Christ. Biden faces questions about commitment to minimum wage hike. So he's pretending he wants to raise your minimum wage. He's still saying that. But he doesn't. President Joe Biden campaigned on raising the national minimum wage to $15 an hour and attached a proposal doing just that to the $1.9 trillion coronavirus. Well, guess what? Listen to this.
You also want to raise the minimum wage to $15. Is that something you would be willing to negotiate on in order to get Republican support?
Well, apparently that's not going to occur because of the rules of the United States Senate.
So you're saying the minimum wage won't be in the...
So if what you don't realize is happening is what's happening. What's happening is Joe Biden pretends he gives, just like Chris Hedges says, they know the words. They know how to pay fealty to democracy and to liberalism and to workers. They know all the words. So Joe Biden says, you deserve a living wage, $15, which he's correct. He has no intention of ever fulfilling that. And so he sounds like, yeah, I put it in my proposal, but it's not going to make it through the Senate. Why does he say that? Let's listen. Let's listen to him.
You also want to raise the minimum wage to $15. Is that something you would be willing to negotiate on in order to get Republican support?
Well, apparently that's not going to occur because of the rules of the...
So why does the most powerful man in the world say his big issue, it's not, apparently I'm being told this isn't going to work. So what he's doing there is he's signaling his lack of support for it, which then signals to the people in Congress who want to also not support it that they could not support it. Do you see how that goes? So he's taking away his support. That's him saying, I'm not supporting this $15 minimum wage, and I'm going to blame it on other people. That's what that is. So let's watch the rest of his answer. Now, then he starts backtracking. We don't have to go $15 right away. Let's go maybe with a quarter, and let's go with 50 cents. Lots. He's going to listen to what he says.
United States Senate.
So you're saying the minimum wage won't be in this?
My guess is it will not be in it, but I do think that we should have a minimum wage stand by itself, $15 an hour, and work your way up to the 15. It doesn't have to be boom. And all the economics show, if you do that, the whole economy rises. I'm prepared, as President of the United States, on a separate negotiation on minimum wage, to work my way up from what it is now, which is pain. Look, no one should...
He doesn't know what it is.
Look.
Up from what it is today, which, look, I don't know what that exact number is. And we don't have to. We could just go up little by little. Like, how about we go to $12? Can we work up to it? No. We just have to keep it where it is? Okay, well, sorry, that's not going to happen. But it would be cool, though, huh?
You know, I remember since I was a kid, when they raised minimum wage to like $6. And they can't do that because then the value goes down of the wage.
Yeah.
There's reasons why you can't do it. It's going to ruin the economy. And then all of a sudden, they just made more money than ever with it. And then they just stopped raising the wage at some point.
Every time they raise the minimum wage, it's good for business.
Including when they raised it from zero.
Yes.
The same argument they've been using every time.
Yes.
You can't do that. It's going to ruin the business.
No, it's actually good for business. Oh, it's going to put a mom and pop store out of business. Of course, that's also false. And my answer to that is, why does a person who owns a business get to make a living, but the person who works there and generates the profits doesn't get to make a living? That's a fucked up system. If you're running a business where your employees don't get to have a living wage, you need to close. That's what I say. Okay. Let's move on. The coronavirus has renewed focus on challenges facing hourly employees who have continued working in grocery stores, gas stations, and other in-person locations, even as much of the workforce has shifted to virtual environments. President Joe Biden has responded by including a provision in this massive pandemic relief bill that would more than double the minimum wage for the current $7.25 to $15 an hour. But the effort is facing an unexpected roadblock. Biden himself! So Joe Biden can go F himself. So if you think
that's the signal they're talking about, the same signal that you just said.
Yeah, the president has seemingly undermined the push to raise the minimum wage by acknowledging its dim prospects in Congress. That was him undermining it. That's frustrating to activists like Terrence Wise, who worry their victory is being snatched away at the last minute, despite an administration that's otherwise an outspoken ally. To have it this close on the doorstep, they need to get it done, said Wise, a 41-year-old department manager at McDonald's in Kansas City and a national leader of Fight for 15, an organized labor movement. They need to feel the pressure. They don't feel the pressure. They're not going to feel the pressure because the people who we elected to put pressure on them are not pressuring them, meaning people like Rashid Tlaib, Ocasio-Cortez, people like Ro Khanna, people like Ilhan Omar, people like Cori Bush, none of those people, Jamal Bowman, none of those people are putting any pressure on Joe Biden's administration. They're walking around kissing his ass.
I give him an A+.
They give him an A+. Democrats have long supported an increase in the $15. In fact, it's in the party's 2016 political platform. But that was, what was that, 2016, 6, it was that 8 years ago? 6 years ago? That was 6 years ago, and no, that nothing's happened. And they have complete control of government. Biden suggested that he's prepared to engage in, no, fuck that. So here, let's watch this. There's another clip.
17 Nobel laureates in economics said my plan will ease long-term inflationary pressures. Top business leaders, and I believe most Americans support the plan. And here's the plan. First, cut the cost of prescription drugs. We pay more for the same drug produced by the same company in America than any other country in the world. Just look at insulin. 1 in 10 Americans has diabetes. In Virginia, I met a 13-year-old boy, the handsome young man standing up there, Joshua Davis. He and his dad both have type 1 diabetes, which means they need insulin every single day. Insulin costs about $10 a vial to make. That's what it costs the pharmaceutical company. But drug companies charge families like Joshua and his dad up to 30 times that amount. I spoke with Joshua's mom. Imagine what it's like to look at your child who needs insulin to stay healthy and have no idea how in God's name you're going to be able to pay for it.
You could give them Medicare for all at the stroke of a pen because we are in an emergency, and then nobody would have to worry about how they're going to get their insulin, because then Medicare for all would negotiate the prices and they would come way down and it'd be affordable, but she wouldn't have to pay for it anyway because she pays her taxes. And then everybody's health care bill would get cut in half because we now pay twice as much for the same health care as the other countries and we get worse outcomes. So he could fix that just like that, but he's not going to. But he will virtue signal over it and press an emotional button in your head by showing a little kid. But go ahead. Do you want to say something? Wait till you see how much he wants to lower the drug price by. So watch how much he wants to cut it by.
What it does to your family, but what it does to your dignity, your ability to look your child in the eye, be the parent you expect yourself to be. I really mean to think about that. That's what I think about. You know, yesterday, Joshua's here tonight, but yesterday was his birthday. Happy birthday, buddy, by the way. For Joshua and 200,000 other young people with type 1 diabetes, let's cap the cost of insulin at $35 a month.
So it costs them $10 to make, he said. Let's cap it at $35. Did I hear that right?
Yeah. Like
that's over. That's a 350% markup. And what does he say about that?
So everyone can afford it. And drug companies will do very, very well. Their profit margin.
Oh, thank God.
Why do they have to do very, very well? Why is there a huge profit margin in medicine?
Oh, I remember why. Because of innovation. Jimmy.
Innovation.
What about the innovations?
That's right. Because if they don't make unbelievable gobs of money, they'll never want to innovate and make new drugs for us. Even though the government is the one who always subsidizes new drugs anyway.
Well, basically, you don't understand that those CEOs are immortal and thus not subject to the same sicknesses and frailties as other humans. So they're doing this to be cool, and they should get paid for that.
That's how much he wants to. He wants to make, again, he's all about everything being affordable instead of, hey, how about if I just get to have it when I'm sick?
Look at Jimmy behind you is the exact moment Josh will look back on when he lost faith in democracy.
That's right. I'm sure he's like, well, why can't you just give us Medicare for all? Like the rest of the world. Here we go.
While we're at it, I know we have great disagreements on this floor with this. Let's let Medicare negotiate the price of prescription drugs.
He doesn't mean it. These are all just words. Just like when he said the minimum wage, or make pot legal, or get rid of student debt, or whatever he said. I'm going to give you a $2,000 check.
How do you say the same things you already didn't deliver on, and then say them like they're new promises?
Like they're new ideas.
Yeah. Hey, what if I do the things I was supposed to do about 2 years ago?
Ready. Set the price for VA drugs.
So I don't know. They keep going to Susan Collins, the Republican, who's shaking her head. I can't tell if she's shaking her head because she doesn't believe in negotiating to reduce drug prices, or because she can't believe they're pretending that will ever happen.
It's probably a little column A, a little column B.
Yeah. Biden spending framework leaves out Medicare negotiating for drug prices. Do you see what a bullshitter this guy is? Non-stop bullshitter.
Well, that was before. Now he means it.
The framework of a deal on President Biden's social spending package unveiled on Thursday does not include allowing Medicare to negotiate lower prescription drug prices, leaving out a major Democratic priority. He unveils his social spending package. He leaves out the thing he claims he wants. He knows you want it, but you know who doesn't want it? His donors. The people who run this country. The donor class, the owner class, as George Carlin used to call it. They own everything. That's who Joe Biden serves. And so does Mitch McConnell. That's why this country is in a shithole. A senior administration official told reporters that there was not enough votes among Democrats to pass the policy. Really?
How is that possible?
I thought they were going to say Joe Manchin, but it says, no, it just says there's not enough. 80% of the country wants that policy to happen. And that's possible because we don't live in a democracy. The absence of drug pricing in the package is a major failure for the party on one of its key campaign pledges, and an area where leaders like Biden and Pelosi had repeatedly vowed to take action. I know they keep saying they're going to do something for you. They're never going to do something for you. I know Kyle Kalinske will tell you they are, and to keep voting for them and keep donating to them, but that's a lie. As rumors circulated about drug pricing provisions being dropped or watered down on Wednesday, vulnerable House Democrats urged their party to keep a strong provision in, noting they campaigned on it. All of us would love to be able to go back to our districts and say, hey, this is something we campaigned on that we delivered. No shit.
We'd love it too.
Now, because of objections from a small minority of Democratic lawmakers, the drug pricing provision is being left out. It's being left out because Joe Biden didn't want it in. And he didn't push for it. The proposal is extremely popular with voters. A Kaiser Family Foundation poll this month found that 83% of public support allowing the government to negotiate. 83%. Over 8 out of 10 Americans want this to happen, and it ain't happening. But Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi will fall on their faces applauding it, and then never do a fucking thing to make sure it happens.
Just because I always kind of lose this in it. This is just to negotiate in Medicare, right? Like,
Yeah, no.
that's not any of the rest of us that aren't getting Medicare.
Right. That's correct.
So not even for the old people. Wow.
That's right. That is exactly right. Then remember when they put out that provision, Joe Biden was like, okay, well, we'll let them negotiate on 3 drugs in 5 years. Do you remember that? That happened. Remember they floated that really fast?
Well,
So the Democratic Party would rather lose seats than vote for a Medicare to negotiate drug prices. Do you think that little boy is going to donate to their campaign?
worst birthday ever.
That deadbeat can't even pay for his own fucking insulin.
Beat it, Josh, you freeloader.
Beat it, Josh. The absence of drug pricing measures in Biden's new spending framework is a major victory for the pharmaceutical industry, which fought hard against the proposal with lobbying and a 7-figure ad buy and has long been a powerful force in Washington and is who Joe Biden actually represents.
Wow, they're on fire in the pharmaceutical industry this year, huh?
Yes. Joe Biden just said the answer isn't to defund the police, it's to fund the police. But his party spent the past 2 years arguing to defund the police. Welcome to the party, pal. So the Democrats have always been they give lip service to defunding the police, but then they fund it. I can show you a videotape of Democrat after Democrat saying we should defund the police, but none of them vote for it. None of them push for it. And defund police again, there should be if there's ever a losing term, it's defund the police, because
it seems almost purposely written to be stupid, to fail.
It seems like if you were to infiltrate and co-opt an organization, and then you take that co-opted organization and have their number one policy goal be something that is a turnoff to the majority of the country, even though the majority of the country supports that organization, you've now found out a way to make what they're doing unpopular. And they did. Sounds like they almost did it on purpose.
Yeah.
It's almost like intentional. Hey, how can we make this? People don't like police brutality, and we're spending too much money policing people instead of on social services. And why don't we send a social worker out to do a social call on somebody instead of a cop with a gun and they shoot them? Why don't we so that everybody's for that? How can we make that unpopular? Let's call it defund the police.
Yeah.
They found a way to make that unpopular.
And that's the moderate thing. The main thing was abolish police altogether.
The main thing was that's right. That was their compromise.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Like the concept of police?
I know. All right, so that's my coverage of Joe Biden's bullshit State of the Union. And I had to watch it because I do this show. I probably wouldn't have watched it because I knew exactly what he was going to say. He said all those things and it was empty and stupid, and people went around. They did a poll. 80% of the people who watched it thought that it was a good speech.
Well, he only slurred Iranian.
That's right. Well, how many people you think watched that? Is there a number we could get on a rating? How many people watched? We should ask Suri. Hey, Suri, how many people watched the State of the Union address?
Do you think people are telling the truth that they watched it too when they they watched it?
I think people are lying. Hey, Suri, 8 million? 38 million people watched it last night? Wow. 38 million people watched the State of the Union.
How many of them stayed awake?
So are there that many? So I wonder. Hey, Suri. How many senior citizens are there in the United States? So there's 50 million people over 65. And I'm going to guess most of them were senior citizens watching Joe Biden last night. That's who I think it was.
Well, that Medicare thing's probably going to hurt him then.
No, he's giving lip service to them. They're like, yay, negotiate. Yay, he wants to do it. They don't want to do it. You chumps. Hey, we got more dates for our 2022 stand-up tour. We're going everywhere. We're going to Dallas, Houston, Florida. We're going to Omaha, Des Moines, Pittsburgh, Columbus, Ohio, and Los Angeles. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our shows.